And we're back, YouTube. Thank you for tuning in, as always. I appreciate that. And today let's talk about Mass Effect Andromeda. I actually like the story of Mass Effect Andromeda. You wake up as either male or female Ryder, whatever you choose at the beginning of the game, after 600 years of cryo sleep, to find out that the new star system isn't as great as expected. You become the Pathfinder as you colonize planets while fighting the Cat, a new alien race that is introduced in Andromeda. Now, contrary to popular opinion, I actually like the new characters in Andromeda, especially Ryder, who reluctantly steps in the shoes of her deceased father, so becoming the next Pathfinder, which is not to everybody's liking. Now, like in the previous Mass Effect games, you get a spaceship that sort of serves as a central hub as you visit the different planets in the game. Now, planets, they look fantastic, really amazing. They're big, they're varied, and they actually change over time as you terraform them, as you progress in the game. Because the main goal is to settle an outpost on each and every planet that you'll visit. The problem with this is that the game relies on one specific sort of location on each of the planets that involve a lot of platforming and solving Sudoku puzzle that gets really old really quickly, and in my opinion is really a bad design decision. So at BioWare they had a meeting with the designers, and somebody asked, okay, the player needs to terraform the planet. How do we do that? And somebody said, well, let the player solve a Sudoku puzzle and let him do that 10 or 15 times in this game. Now, who in their right mind would think that that is a good idea? What is good, though, like in the previous games, is that you can recruit a bunch of misfit crew members. Not all of them are great, but they're differently enough and competently voiced. They chat, they quarrel, they joke with one another. You can even romance them, which is like, well, as awkward as it has always been in Mass Effect games.
I like it when you flirt. I wouldn't want you to stop. Have I flirted with you? Don't worry, Ryder. I'm relentless. It relaxes me.
Now, a lot has been said about the wooden animations, the dead eyes, and the bad lip syncing of the characters involved, but let's be honest, that has always been the case in BioWare games. Just take a look at Dragon Age Inquisition, it had the same problem. But it's because Mass Effect, and people just go nuts about Mass Effect, and they cannot accept some lower quality NPCs. To me, that is just not a problem. Now, once you have settled an outpost on a planet, this will open up a whole can of side stuff you can do. So you talk to NPCs that will give you quests, and you're on your merry way driving this nomad vehicle on the planets, which is really a fun thing to do. Because everything you do in this game, from the main quest to the side stuff, it is all directly connected to the goal of finding a new home in the galaxy. This gives the game an urgency that you will rarely see in other RPGs. Too many other RPGs lose themselves in non-essential fluff. Like for instance Oblivion, where you had to kill 10 rats or pick up some items while the gates of Oblivion opened up and all spawn of hell came out of it, flooding in to the world. And it makes no sense. That's not to say that Andromeda doesn't have a good share of filler quests, because there are, like putting down antennas or hunting for destroyed drones. But there are times when the game genuinely surprises you with an unexpected boss battle, or that moment when you help out a bunch of aliens who are fighting the cat, and afterwards they aren't really grateful. They just say,
So, the Pathfinder. Here to convince us you're a friend. If that's the goal, take my advice. Don't join fights that aren't yours.
now missions of course involve a lot of combat, and it's a lot better than in Mass Effect 3 because you get a bunch of familiar weapons, you get some new weapons, and the cover-based shooting is actually quite fun, especially with the added jetpack functionality that allows for mid-air jumping and zipping and hoovering. I like that. It's really action-packed. Now the problem is that the cats, the new alien species, are an underwhelming enemy and seem to spawn out of nowhere or drop from the sky like instantly, and it's so unimmersive. They even respawn after a while. In every RPG you get XP for finishing quests, and this allows you to upgrade your character's abilities and those of your crew members. So in Mass Effect Andromeda, that's pretty much what is going on. It is standard stuff, nothing spectacular. Now, what I do like is that Ryder gets a bunch of special powers that are also upgradable, so this allows for a more varied, whatever suits you best sort of gunplay. I like it. Now the game world is full of loot as well, so you might stumble upon containers with some really nice shiny weaponry or armors. Those can also be crafted, but I didn't like that crafting system. You need to grind all kinds of materials on planets in the galaxy to make the stuff that you can actually find in the game world itself. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me to spend a lot of time doing that. It really feels tagged on. It's sort of an artificial way of lengthening a game that's also quite big in size already. It's also done in menu. I don't really like that because it gets you out of the game world and into a menu. And speaking of which, it's very cumbersome to navigate all the pages of the menu. Now there's also multiplayer, which is fun if you like this sort of a thing. It's not groundbreaking, it's not game breaking. It's pretty much horde mode where you fight waves of enemies while completing certain objectives. You get some rewards, some items, new loadouts, customize your guy or girl in the multiplayer environment. So if you're into that, it's here and it adds to the whole package. Now in conclusion, Mass Effect Andromeda was never going to be an easy win for BioWare. It takes a lot of guts to sort of restart a well-loved franchise. It would never meet the unrealistic high expectations of a vocal minority of hardcore fans of the series. But for the average down-to-earth gamer, and let's face it, that's most of us, this is actually quite an entertaining piece of software with some good stuff and some bad stuff. I mean, Andromeda is a huge title with lots to do, and it's well worth your time and money. And it's sad that the series has been put on ice, so we won't see a new installment anytime soon.
Sensors clear for now. Great shooting.